Okay, we're going to make pasta the old-fashioned way today. I don't usually do it like this because I have a KitchenAid mixer that I like to mix mine in. You can also use a bread machine or a food processor. But in the old days when Grandma and Mom taught me, this is how we did it. My recipe is going to be 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs, about a tablespoon of olive oil, and about a teaspoon of salt. Most of them I'm guessing on, because basically it's how the dough feels that will tell you if it's right. So I'm going to mix that egg mixture a little bit before I add it. About 2 cups of flour. And you can use almost any flour you like. We've done it with white flour. Most cookbooks say half a cup of semolina and half a cup of white flour. I prefer all semolina, and this is the brand I use. It's imported from Italy. Caputo Semolina. They make 2 or 3 different kinds of flours. They make pizza flour, they make bread flour. This is the semolina flour. Okay, so we have a little well in the center. It's going to get messy. We're going to use our hands, okay? Handy to have a bench knife when you're ready for it. So that egg mixture is going to go in the center. Slowly going to beat those eggs a little bit more, and as you do, incorporate some of this flour into it. You'll get a paste. If you don't have a well deep enough, it's going to leak, and it usually does. And then you have to patch it up, just like a finger in the dam. What was that, the little Dutch boy? Okay. Just beating and incorporating more and more flour as you go, till you can no longer go. And you'll see we get to that point. I'm going to take this measuring cup and put a little bit of water in it. Depending on the temperature and the humidity, there might not be enough moisture in this mixture, in which case I'd add water. You don't usually have to add more flour. As I said, 2 cups of flour is the batch I'm making for you. I find that 1 cup of flour will make enough pasta for 4 people. So 2 cups of flour, 8 people, and on and on. I don't usually go more than 3 cups of flour in a batch, because that gets to be enough to handle. Okay, I'll pause you for a second while I continue to incorporate this. Okay, I've been working this for another 2 minutes. It's a very soft dough, more like a batter at this point. And now I just throw in chunks of flour. Okay, we're getting to the point where fork doesn't do it anymore. So now I'm going to bring in my knife and bring the rest of that flour together. And hopefully we'll get dough out of this. Been working for hundreds of years, so I don't know why it wouldn't work today. You see I'm getting a nice dough. All of the egg is incorporated in all of the flour. And now you just got to bring it together. Time to get your hands in there. squish it a little bit, add the pieces in. You can feel the moisture in the dough. Just keep going around, gathering those pieces. They all have to be added and brought together in this ball of dough. Every little piece is another portion of dough. Okay, turn you off for a minute while I incorporate it. I'm just going around grabbing these pieces. They pretty much automatically stick to the dough. I would probably be using 2 hands, but I want to be able to turn the camera on and off. So this might take a minute longer, but not much. We're almost there. Okay, this dough feels pretty good to me, so I don't think I'm going to be adding any more water. You really are going to have to do it by feel. It's coming together. It's not sticky. It's not too dry. And what I'm going to do now, as I incorporate these pieces, I'm just going to knead. And I'm going to knead this dough, which will pick up these extra pieces, probably for at least 5 minutes. So I'll come back later. Okay, I've been working this piece for about 5 minutes, I'd say. It's come together nicely. You're really going to have to learn to feel. Make sure that it feels right. And I can't tell you what that feeling is. It's not too hard. It's certainly not too soft. Small dough like this might be easier to knead with one hand. 2 is usually the piece I work with. I usually make 3 cups of flour. I probably said that. This is 2 cups just for demonstration purposes. And you want to do this. I say it took me 5 minutes to get to this point. You probably want to do it for 5 more. I don't honestly think you can over knead it. I'm working on a little wooden board. I think you're going to need, if you have a breadboard or something, you can work on that. I don't know about a Formica countertop or a kitchen tabletop. This is the way the old folks did it on wood. Okay, I'm going to turn you off for another few minutes and knead. Probably needed for a total of 10 minutes, be my guess. I mean, once it was all together. It took a while to get it to that point, but I did it for about 5 minutes. At this point, you would say whatever prayer you say to bless the dough, because you want God's help, trust me. Put it aside and cover it. I use a glass bowl. I think most recipes and cookbooks say to cover it, rest it for about 20 minutes. I never rest it for 20 minutes. I always go much longer, at least an hour. It's my feeling the longer it sits, the better it is when it comes together. Gets a little more tender as it goes along, gets a little soft. And now we're going to put a machine together. This is an Atlas. I think the machine you have might have the rollers and the knives attached. My machine allows me to change the knives, and I have 3. I have a narrow spaghetti, another, that's probably an eighth of an inch wide. I have another knife that, well, this isn't going to fit on this board, so let's try the board below it. I have another knife, I'll show them to you, that cuts a 1/4 inch. It's called farfalle, or an egg soup noodle. If my board was too thin, and it has been, I could put a piece of wood in to help. But I can go this way too. I don't know where my cutters are. Let me see. This is one of them. It has that 1/8 inch wide and the 1/4 inch wide. We're not going to use the cutter yet though, because we have to roll this dough. That one hasn't been sitting long enough, but I just happen to have another one over here that I made about an hour ago. There it is. I think you can see. What I'm going to do, cut a piece off. Keep the rest covered. Going to flatten this into a bit of an oval or a square. Something that will fit in my machine. A little bit of flour on it. These machines have numbers on the side. Let's try and show you. This one has number 1, 2, 3. So let me go back to 1. That's what 1 looks like. It's the widest setting there is. So we're going to start at 1. I'm going to go as far as 7 on the 7 be too thin. 5 or 6 on this machine. Okay, because that's how